Jean-Hubert Martin, the Shchukin Collection and the Franco-Soviet Cultural Exchange, 1965-1979.
Before the Shchukin collection was brilliantly shown at the Fondation Louis Vuitton in Paris in 2016 and 17, it was not at all unknown for the Parisian public of my generation and even of the previous generation. The media always need to say that an exhibition is shown for the first time or for the last time, and the museum departments usually go in the same direction, either saying that the works that are going to be seen are rediscovered, that they were hidden before, that they were not available, or that the exhibition is the last one because no one will ever be able to put all these treasures together, which is not entirely true because we know that it's mainly a matter of money and of budget to assemble an exhibition of masterpieces. Well, the first exhibition where actually works of the Shchukin collection were shown in Paris was in June 1954 at the Maison de la Pensée Française, and was an exhibition called Picasso, œuvres des musées de Leningrad et de Moscou et de quelques collections parisiennes. So Picasso works from the museums of Leningrad and Moscow and from some Parisian collection, 1900-1914. The exhibition assembled 49 works, of which 37 came from Soviet Union, and it had, among other, the Femme à la Mandoline of 1909 of the Hermitage, and you will see why I mentioned that later. France has been one of the first Western countries. Just to show you the. How does it work? This way? Yeah. It's this one. Okay, thank you. So this was the catalog. France has been one of the first Western countries to create already in 1957 an intergovernmental mixed committee for cultural exchanges with USSR. This committee, which first met every year and then later every 2 years, set up the programs that were the basis of the cultural exchanges till the fall of the Soviet Union. Thanks to its stately and centralized tradition, France had an administration which was perfectly adapted to exchanges with Soviet Union. It was the direction of cultural relations of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs that was dealing with Soviet Union. It had the decision power and the budget and could therefore be the only partner in the sometimes difficult negotiations with the Soviet government. In the history of culture exchanges, a special place must be devoted to the French National Exhibition, which took place during the summer '61 in Moscow. It was an overall exhibition, but at the difference with other countries like the United States, it was not strictly commercial and industrial, but had a very large cultural section. Nothing was for sale, but many books were stolen and they were replaced every day because the organizer had foreseen this appetite of the visitors for literature, for French literature. In 1965, an exhibition was set up both in Bordeaux at the Musée des Beaux-Arts by the director at that time, Gilberte Martin-Méry, and the same exhibition went afterwards to the Musée du Louvre in Paris. It was called As you can see, chef-d'œuvre de la peinture française dans les musées de Leningrad et de Moscou, that is masterpieces of French painting in the Museum of Leningrad and Moscow. And he comprehended about 100 works, among which there were several, quite a few from the Shtukin collection. There were 4 Derain paintings, 3 Marquet, 6 Matisse, 7 Picasso, and 1 Douanier-Rousseau. It was, at that time, the most important exhibition that Soviet Union had done abroad. Thanks to the Hermitage collection in this exhibition, it was possible to show the continuity of the evolution of French painting, mainly in the 18th century and beginning of the 19th century. It is said that it's the only museum with the Louvre to make this assemblage of works possible. Gaëtan Picon, a prominent art critic at the Ministry of Culture at that time, wrote in his introduction, "Constantly in contact with French painting, Russia did not put itself in the school of French painting." I found actually this statement very strange and, I must say, quite wrong. Probably because Gaëtan Picon mentions, especially among the Russian painters Repin and Vroubel, with a certain reluctance, he didn't have a clear view of Russian painting and probably had only in mind the social realism. There is a very strange discordance, as you can see here, between both committees. Soviet communist regime was always accused of being excessively bureaucratic. And in fact, here you see that there were only 3 organizers, and they needed about 13 on the French side, which shows that we were quite as bureaucratic or even much more than the Soviet. As a reciprocity, an exhibition of chefs-d'œuvre des musées de France, masterpieces of French museum, was sent to Moscow and Leningrad just afterwards. This exchange exhibition sent by France to USSR assembled works of the Louvre and from regional museums, mainly from Bordeaux. Then in 1966, there was a very big exhibition of Picasso at the Grand Palais and at the Petit Palais in Paris, so a huge exhibition which was called Hommage à Pablo Picasso. And again, the Shtukin collection was very well represented. There were 9 works coming, 6 from the Hermitage, 3 from the Pushkin Museum. There was the Nu à la draperie of 1907, Nature morte à la tête de mort, Still Life with a Skull of 1907. Then the 2 Femmes à l'éventail, Woman with a Fan, of 1908 and 1909. And then Compotier aux poires, La Femme à la mandoline, again. Usine à Horta de Ebro, The Portrait of Ambroise Vollard, and finally, Le Violon, the Violin of 1912. So again, the Shtukin collection was really part of this homage, which was still very debated and discussed at that time. Picasso wasn't yet the hero he is nowadays, and I remember very well very harsh discussion and people who were still very reluctant to accept his style and his talent. Then in 1971, there was this exhibition of Picasso at the Musée National d'Art Moderne before it joined the Centre Pompidou. There were 25 works from 1900 to 1913, from which 20 had already been shown in the 1954 exhibition at the Maison de la Pensée Française. The announcement of the loan to the Musée d'Art Moderne came very late from the ministry, And in a rush, I was, as a very young curator at that time, I was appointed to empty 2 rooms of the Musée d'Art Moderne to host the Picasso works. And again, the Femme à la Mandoline of 1999 of the Hermitage was there. Then, in 1978, there was an exhibition called De Renoir à Matisse, 22 chefs-d'œuvre des musées soviétiques et français at the Grand Palais. So, from Renoir to Matisse, 22 masterpieces of the Soviet museums and French collection and museums. In fact, there were 24 works because at the last minute they added 2 drawings of Gauguin. 13 works were from Parisian Museum Art Collection and 11 works from USSR, among which 4 came from the Shtukin collection. A small but very subtle and refined choice which was made by Hélène Adhémar, the chief curator of the Musée du Jeu de Paume. The Musée du Jeu de Paume at that time was hosting the Impressionist paintings before they went much later to the Musée d'Orsay. 8 paintings were building up couples with relevant comparisons between the works coming from both countries. Picasso, Femme à la Mandoline, for instance, was shown here next to the Femme assise of the same year from the Musée National d'Art Moderne of Paris. So we see that the Femme à la Mandoline of 1909 from the Hermitage was shown 4 times in Paris, in 54, 66, 71, and 78. Obviously, she loves to play and sing in Paris. She is the most frequent flyer from St. Petersburg to Paris and probably deserves an award for that, even if probably she was too tired and didn't come then to the 2016 exhibition at the Vuitton Foundation. Well, all this shows a paradoxical situation. The Russian public in Moscow and St. Petersburg knew the French avant-garde of the beginning of the 20th century much better than their own Russian avant-garde at the same period. This is what was corrected with the double exhibition, Paris-Moscow in 79 and Moscow-Paris in 81. Before, already in 1977, there were signs of a slight change through the relation with Paris. For the opening display of the Musée d'Art Moderne at the Centre Pompidou in February 1977, the Russian Museum of Leningrad lent the portrait of his wife by Malevich. A few months later, to celebrate the 60th anniversary of Soviet Union, the exhibition 60 ans de peinture soviétique, 60 years of Soviet paintings, was shown at the Grand Palais from July to November 1977. Discreetly, there were 2 Malevich paintings included, but not reproduced in the catalogue, to demonstrate his evolution from abstract art from abstract suprematism to realism, with his self-portrait as a Renaissance artist. So both portraits of himself and his wife came from the Russian museums. So both, they visited Paris, where the couple was actually united again for a few weeks, and they were only 15 minutes walk away from each other. In 1976, Pontus Sultan had the first talks in Moscow with Soviet officials of the Ministry of Culture about his project of an exhibition that was then called Paris, Moscow, Berlin, and then ended up in two exhibitions, an exhibition called Paris, Berlin, and then Paris, Moscow. He came back from his first talks in Moscow quite positive, with the assurance of getting the loans of several Gauguin, Picasso, and Matisse of the Shtukin collection. But we told him that it was great, but it was not what we expected, we as curators. The aim was to allow the museums to lend the Russian historical avant-garde. We went back to Moscow and started the long negotiation for the Paris-Moscow exhibition. Thanks to this long, sometimes difficult, but also friendly collaboration, we managed to realize a historical event which marked the break with a long shutdown of an essential part of the Russian artistic creation. At a certain point, when we insisted again and again for more works of the avant-garde artists, of Malevich, Tatlin, and so on, Alexander Khalturin, the Soviet chief curator, answered, "After all, these people have not killed anybody." We then knew that we were in the good direction and that we were following the same aim. Paris, Moscow then took place at the Centre Pompidou in 1979. And there were again masterpieces of the Shtukin collection, 9 Picasso, 5 Matisse, 1 Derain, 1 Vlaminck, the Matisse including the Danse, and there was also a marvelous triptychon of Morozov, coming from the Morozov collection, a triptychon of Bonnard. Allow me just to conclude this little history with a personal story. I was director of the Museum Kunstpalast in Düsseldorf from 2000 to 2006. And in 2007, there was in the museum, I had been a director, the Museum Kunstpalast, the exhibition Bonjour Russland. A collaborator of Gazprom, Mr. Middelschulte, who had just been appointed member of my museum board, wanted to force me to make a sort of, for me, silly remake of Paris, Moscow, which was not on my program, pretending that it would be the first time that the 4 big museums of Moscow and St. Petersburg would collaborate for such a show, which was wrong because we had done it already with the exhibition Paris-Moscow. He also set me different conditions, including a level of 300,000 visitors that I was obliged to reach. It ended up in a power game where I decided to leave Düsseldorf and the Museum Kunstpalast. I still don't understand why he called it Bonjour Russland. Anyway, for me it was an au revoir. Well, now I'm very pleased that was the past. I'm very pleased to be back in Moscow and to collaborate with colleagues in much more peaceful and friendly atmosphere. Thank you.